What's up, weaves? Welcome back to Anime Lane. As always, I'm your host, Notorious, and join me once again today is Shaun.
Hey.
So yeah, we've been up to stuff. I never know how to start these episodes. I wish there was just a quick sting of like, hey, we're doing this, we'll just get into it. But like, I never know how to start the ones where it's like, hey, we've been up to whatever the hell
free time
we've
roundup.
been up to. Yeah. I have no idea what to start with because like we've done a few of these and we've been sidetracked really heavily into like pretty specific stuff whenever we've done them. That there's like now almost 6.5 months worth of stuff that's sort of just been glossed over by them.
We went to the cinema again.
We did. We went to see Angel's Egg, which I was sort of just like, I almost forgot about because I keep thinking like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great conversation whenever we get like home video so we can do like an actual episode on it.
Not to do a deep dive on it here, like obviously, because that we're going to say that because we do plan at some point to like watch that again with Melina. Yeah. Because she didn't come with us. But just to round out our Oshi compilation. Yeah. Totally not to get an EX episode out of that. we are gonna go more in depth on an actual episode on that at some point in the future.
Yeah. That was
we went to go see it in a cinema.
Yeah, it was a bizarre experience because I've never quite been in a cinema room like that. Because we went to the Cameo, which has become a bit of a frequent haunt for like revival screenings for us. We went to see Old Boy
it's where the movie nerds of Edinburgh go when they want to see like, I don't want to say art house shit, but the more niche stuff.
Yeah, because we went to see Old Boy there and Decision to Leave when they were showing like those kind of like back to back. We've talked about the god awful 35mm print that Decision to Leave.
Not the best way to watch that for the first time. It would really suck if that was your first time seeing that movie.
But we were in one of the screens that I hadn't been in. You've only been in screen 1. I'd been in screen 2 as well. No, sorry, that was screen 2. I've been in screen 3. Yeah. Which is a much smaller room. It's very much like a long kind of corridor with seats and then the screens at the front.
It almost felt like a college film club going to see like a movie instead of like an actual like cinema.
Because the Cameo is a very old theater. I don't think it's ever been a theater in the sense of like a theater. I think it's always been like a movie theater, but from the days of when movie theaters looked like theaters.
Like there were like sculpted like lighting and stuff like that on like the walls. I don't know how else to describe them.
If anyone's seen Cinema Paradiso, they know exactly what we're talking about. But that's an old converted church, so.
It was a very classical looking like cinema, and it very much fit the vibe when we went to see like Old Boy and stuff. Yeah. But would have liked to have seen Angel's Egg in that like big room.
Yeah. That we were in screen 2, which is the other 2 screens of the cinema are just converted rooms because of that sort of like old theater design. Like it comes from the times where cinemas had one screen, because very often they would just be showing like the 1 or 2 movies throughout a day. Screen 2 is fine. It's a pretty solid setup. But we were in screen 3 is a really solid setup. It's pretty cool. It's quite comfy. Whereas screen 2 that we were in this time is quite possibly one of the worst cinema screens I've ever been in. Because they you have like a representation of stuff when you're booking the tickets on your phone, and it always makes it seem like the screen is very much width matched to like however many seats there are in the room. And like for most cinema screens, that is true. That is how that works. You're maybe like a little off to the side, but the scale of most cinemas means that doesn't mean anything when you're actually sitting and watching the movie. Whereas here it's 3 long rows that are not really curved at all.
No.
And they sit mostly off to the edge of the screen if you're at the side. If you're not bang slap in the middle, you're very much off to the side of the screen, because the screen
you're watching the movie at an angle.
At an angle, yeah. And because the screen is like a giant ironing board with a sheet put over it, essentially.
I kept thinking of it as like this is the most Gen Z thing I've ever said. It's like a big fucking iPhone just like slapped onto the wall.
Yeah,
it's that general shape with like that's then got like the movie projected onto it, and it was like, damn, this does not feel like a cinema.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the film was engrossing enough that like I kind of didn't mind it too much, but I've certainly never. I think the IMAX seats at Cineworld are the only ones that have ever made me feel more uncomfortable sitting watching a movie than that, because we were also on a couch that wasn't a couch. It was a cinema chair that just didn't have the like in the middle armrest.
Like, it wasn't as soft and nice as you think a couch would be. It's just cinema seats that are stitched together.
So my only option for like sitting half comfortably was like constantly leaning on my one armrest to see the movie.
Damn.
And then, you know, we had like people on their phone constantly. Just
which you wouldn't think would happen at the Cameo.
Of all places, and the sort of like kind of clientele that goes to that. Like, I was baffled that someone was just checking their email the entire time. Yeah. Anyway, movie's good. It's just not. I wish we had seen a better experience.
Yeah.
You know.
Movie itself was still fantastic. I gave it like a 9 out of 10 on like Letterboxd, and I still think of it as basically it was one of my dreams, just sort of projected onto a screen with like gorgeous animation.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about the movie itself if we can when we actually do cover it eventually. Shout out to the woman with the little baby though that came in.
Oh yeah.
That did not cry or scream at any point.
Yeah, that baby was a fucking trooper, man. Like that kid shut the fuck up the entire time.
Yeah, somehow that and it was like almost a newborn from what.
I think when she got up to, because we went in, you know, about 10 minutes I think ahead of the screen starting. And she got up and went out, and I'm pretty sure she went out to breastfeed the baby. And I think she was also breastfeeding partway through the movie from because like I say, most of the people in our row in between us and her were all on their phones. So occasionally I would just get like a little thing distracting me out the corner of my eye, and I looked over
flash,
at one point, and I'm pretty sure she was breastfeeding, which is like, damn. Respect mothers.
Yeah, like I mean, like that's fine. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Is it's like, yeah, you got to respect that. Just in the middle of the movie, she's like, yeah, I got to do that. I got.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
But like, that baby did not cause any sort of like annoyances, like very personally to us at any point. So. I was half tempted to be like, hell yeah, like when we were walking out, because like we sort of passed by her as we were walking out, and so there was one we'd be like, hey, that's awesome. Just like you brought your baby, and your baby was really like calm and like collected throughout the whole thing. Because I didn't, obviously, because that'd be weird.
Yeah,
but
I really wanted to be like, so what brought you to this of all things? Especially
because I don't think she was with anyone either.
Not that I saw. I think she was sat on her own when we went in, and she certainly came back into the screen by herself. And she was standing on her own when she was standing on her own when we left the screen. So it was like one of those things where I was like, I really want to ask like what brought her to this, because we were talking about that. It's like it's a very niche film. I think it's probably the most niche thing that's ever been screened by a large distro. Well, not the Anime Limited's large, but they are kind of larger as one of the animated.
Yeah, like a wider release than just having to find it like how you used to. You sort of described to me that it was kind of like hard to get your hands on outside of Japan, maybe like before this.
Well, it had never been officially like licensed in English before this. It had been licensed and then made part of another movie called Into the Aftermath that I still haven't watched. I've been meaning to check out and see like what they actually did with it. But that's not the same as ever having it actually properly released. So this is the first time both the States and here we've had it. And comparatively to like, you know, Ghost in the Shell and Pat Labor and anything else that Oshi's worked on, it's comparatively niche. It's probably one of the most niche things that I think could get a wider release, both
because it's not like a franchise or anything. It's not like a super famous thing, and it's very much like an art form sort of thing. I want to say art house again, but I'm not sure if it really fits the description.
It probably falls under art house. Yeah, it's very oblique at how it presents itself.
Yeah, there's so many different interpretations you could make like about it. It's like probably very personal to like your view on life or just your life circumstances. I know I've got personal like interpretations I could talk about, but I won't here. But I can understand why it would not be getting a wide release. It's just funny here that I've since heard that like, oh yeah, I used to have to just like pirate this to get any sort of idea of this, and my first experience of it was being like, I got to see it in a cinema screen on an official release. I feel very lucky
because I've seen it before, and I had to pirate it. I watched it like after watching all of other stuff by Oshi, and at that point I think I had owned pretty much everything else that he'd made, and this was like the one elusive thing that you couldn't get a hold of, and I do find it interesting that it got wide release. Obviously not too wide. We were kind of struggling to get like a screening that was at a reasonable time to go and see it. But yeah, I do find it incredible that it's got like a proper release now here, and it's like, oh yeah, people were able to go sit in a cinema screen and see that. And how did
hopefully a home release at some point?
Oh, it will be happening. The US side one's just been announced, so I'm sure the UK one will be soon to follow.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, that was that. I'm just thinking back to that now and how I'm sort of just still baffled that it's an actual thing that people are about to eventually be able to own soon, and we're able to go sit in a cinema screen and see it across the country.
Lost for 40 years and now it's back.
Yeah. Because it was the 40th anniversary that these screenings were for. Yeah, a lot of people talk about like Oshi and stuff, but like Yoshitaka Amano was also really instrumental to it. But I kind of get that like maybe Oshi in this sphere is a much larger name. But obviously Amano, very well known for Final Fantasy, and the art style that defined that.
You can definitely feel his DNA just on the character designs, because that is, if you've seen classic Final Fantasy illustrations, it's just that. Like, it's the sort of, I don't know if skinny characters is the way to describe it, but like definitely the white hair, or the sort of, he has a very distinctive style that I love. I love that look.
Yeah, there's a drawing on the case of the American release that was just announced, and it looks like one of the characters off the front of, I can't remember if it's Final Fantasy 3 or Final Fantasy 6. And I had to do a double take because, you know, Amino's got such a distinct style that like you kind of recognize it when you see it. But a lot of his characters can kind of end up looking very similar at some point in time. Actually, I think it might be the Warrior of Light from the first Final Fantasy. It was never on one of the covers, but it was certainly like an illustration that he did. I think the drawing on the cover of Angel's Egg, or the inner box of Angel's Egg, looked pretty similar. Anyway, what else have we been up to? We've been talking about this for probably a lot longer than people are interested in hearing about.
Hey, it's our show. We can talk about whatever the damn well we please.
I went to see Backrooms. That's the thing I did. And I don't get it. I don't get the hype around it. I don't get people loving it as much as they did, because I was thoroughly fucking bored throughout most of it. It's a very interesting concept at the start, and then it keeps fucking going. It's 2 hours almost. Yeah, almost 2 hours, and I was just like, after the first hour I was begging it to end.
Yeah, which is surprising, because you're probably like the most negative like sounding review that I've heard so far of it, just like in terms of impressions. I haven't heard much from like other people obviously, but usually it's just sort of like, hey, it's fine, it's I liked it well enough. But you're the first person you're the only person that's like, nah, I actively just didn't really like the second half.
Yeah, I think it sort of undoes anything interesting that the first half can do, because it's like, you know, it randomly switches characters' perspectives to a character we don't really know, and then it tries to get kind of philosophical about stuff, but doesn't really have the foundation it's built up to really you know, benefit off of that shift in tone and stuff. And yeah, I just wasn't really enamored by it. I like the set design. I like the actual like filmmaking of it itself. I think that's all very well and impressive, but it's a kind of concept I don't think works in like a larger, long runtime cinematic release. I think it's like 10-15 minute YouTube videos. That's, you know, it works.
It's fine.
Yeah. Not that I've ever watched the Backroom series on YouTube. I kind of thoroughly don't care. I think that's maybe my problem, is that I'm just not interested in it. You're not
in that sort of type of internet sort of culture, I guess to call it anymore. Where like, it's funny because I remember when the Backrooms were first being like a meme thing, like way back, and I was sort of kind of into it, but it's like, it's when it really devolved into like just basically SCP universe, like another style of that, is when I was like, okay, this is starting to become a whole other thing. I kind of liked it when it was just a quiet, sort of mysterious thing. And that's when I ducked out. And now this movie basically is the end result of that.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't really have much interest into seeing it. I like the sentiment of just independent cinema being successful.
Yeah. I mean, as independent as an A24 produced film can be.
Of course, yeah, but you know, still, it's better than fucking whatever the hell the bigger studios are doing at this point.
Yeah, this is true. What was the budget of the Backrooms, actually? I don't think I'm gonna find it on Letterboxd, but I think it was 110 million.
Yeah,
it was a bigger budget than Obsession. I know that much.
I was going to ask, because Obsession was the other thing you've seen as well.
Yeah, which was a very good movie. It's a bit of a... It's funny now that it's got like a digital release. A lot more people are seeing it like out in the wild. And there's some incredibly just brain dead takes on it. 10 million, sorry, was the budget of Backrooms, which is still substantially higher than Obsession. Obsession was made on 750k. So it was made on a very, very low budget.
So I'm glad that Obsession is the better success story for that kind of cinema.
Obsession lives and dies by how good Indy Navarrete does as like the lead character, the lead female character. She's very, very good at it, and I'm really interested to see the sort of roles that she'll get off the back of this, because I feel like she could keep doing horror if she wants to, or I think this is the kind of performance that gets you roles in other bigger projects, you know, like
I am seeing stuff that she is being like asked about like other stuff already, so just I'm basing that off like one Culture Crave post I saw on Blue Sky, so you know, don't take that as gospel. But
oh, excuse me. But yeah, no, Obsession was good. Obsession was a very good like cinematic experience as well, because the sound design and being in like a space where you can't get up and kind of, you know, choose to walk out for a couple of minutes.
You are
to
trapped there.
You're trapped there. And like I say, Indy Navarrete does like a really good job of just freaking you the fuck out as a character. And to the point where sometimes I was sitting there like, I feel like she's gonna just appear like next to me or crawl across the floor and like grab my leg or something like that. And I was like, there were a few times where I was like, I just kind of want to get up and like leave because she's freaking me out.
I've
that
heard
much.
that a few times.
It's nothing like on a like story, narrative, or thematic level too wondrous or, you know, genre defining. It's very much a tick box horror movie otherwise. And I don't think had many other up and coming actresses, no offense to any of them, been in the role, I don't think it would have necessarily have succeeded quite as much as it did. But yeah, I think that's it for like stuff I've seen in cinemas. I also went to see Masters of the Universe, which was fun, but I don't have too much to say on that one. It is just sort of like a fun popcorn flick. I am a little sad that I'm saying probably it came out a month or so ago, so it is probably flopped hard.
Yeah, I've been seeing that it's been considered like a big flop.
It'll probably be one of the biggest bombs of the year because it had a $200 million budget and it only grossed 112. So yeah. The little tease at the end for a potential sequel with She-Ra probably will not happen. And it is kind of MGM's fault for thinking, let's take a fairly dead franchise and pump it with a $200 million budget and hope it makes bank.
With Jared Leto.
With Jared Leto, who somehow is the best part of that fucking movie, and I really hate to admit it.
I've heard that sentiment too, but it doesn't change the fact that he is box office poison at this point.
Yeah, he's pretty much a name that you want to throw there if you just don't want to make the money. But I really think that compared to like something like, I don't know, Morbius or whatever, I don't think you can blame Leto as much for this one, as much as just even showing a trailer for Masters of the Universe. I don't think people are gonna particularly go, oh, I'm gonna go see that because I remember He-Man in the Masters of the Universe, or like even the Netflix series doesn't have much of a cultural hold. So I think it's sort of, you know, it's a weird thing to have put as much money into it as they have, and then sort of put these posters everywhere. And I don't think it's the kind of thing that's going to draw that much attention. I get calling it Masters of the Universe and not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. That makes sense. But it was a weird thing to put that much money into, because it just simply, it was never going to make that much back. And that kind of sucks.
Yeah. In terms of just like the cultural hold, the only thing of like relevance I've heard from just that entire universe in the last decade has been like the She-Ra show. I'm not sure if it was Netflix or if it was like Cartoon Network or whatever that were like.
It was Netflix, I think.
Okay, that was Netflix. Like I heard that was surprisingly good. Like just throughout its whole run, but like again, it wasn't like a huge like cultural thing either. It was like the same sort of space that something like Steven Universe or Gravity Falls like sat in, where like it's just a good cartoon that's really well done.
Yeah, I think
it's not like a phenomenon.
The most I could tell you about the Masters of the Universe animated thing that Netflix did was that I think Kevin Smith wrote it, which, you know, could have been poison, because the man is not always a good writer.
From what I know, he's very hit or miss in terms of the stuff he does.
Extremely hit or miss. He's also just got one of those personalities that's like, oh man, can you just shut up? Just shut the fuck up.
All I know about Kevin Smith is that he was created in the 90s to be a 90s dude. And has stayed a 90s dude his entire life. And sometimes that's cool, sometimes it isn't.
A lot of the time it's not, but that's just my own personal taste, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, what have you been up to? Because I've dominated the first sort of part of this episode here.
I haven't been to the cinema as much as in the last like month, and admittedly, I haven't been watching too much like in the last month, which is something I've sort of been disappointed in myself. Like I'm looking at my letterboxd, and the only thing I really watched like in June was just stuff we were covering for the podcast, which we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Something I need to fix. But the last 2 weeks, I have been going back on my Deltarune bullshit for the first time in really 5 years.
Yeah.
It is that time where I get to talk about it now.
Great.
So I don't know if you know about this, dear listener, but a new chapter of Deltarune came out in the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you've heard about that. It's not absolutely been fucking dominating many internet spaces for the last couple of weeks now.
I'm sure the 3 Deltarune fans are going to be overjoyed by this.
You say that. There's like so many people fucking talking about it.
You know I only do this with the most annoying franchises.
Why are they always mine? But yeah, that came out. Not nearly as long as it took like chapters 3 and 4 to come out compared to like the second one, because for context, dear listener, in case you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, Deltarune is the sort of kinda sequel to Undertale.
Standalone sequel?
Yeah, it's basically its own separate universe with like a lot of the same characters. But like the main core are unique to Deltarune itself. And it originally, the first chapter released in 2018, to the surprise of everyone, because Toby Fox decided to release it as a sort of secret. Hey, I'm maybe getting ideas for a sequel on Undertale. Can you maybe just fill out this survey? Please download this link. Don't look into it. To which I remember downloading it and then being completely shocked that it was the first chapter of an entire fucking game. Then he went quiet for a few years. COVID hit. That probably delayed like the release of the second chapter, and then finally in late 2021, I think, was when chapter 2 came out. And despite as much as I loved Undertale, and as much as I liked the first chapter of Deltarune, I didn't really jump into the second chapter that quickly.
Yeah.
I think it might have been just because where I was at that point, because I remember being late 2021, I was really stressed out about college stuff at the time. So it was hard for me to really like focus on anything else. And then by the time I probably had the time to like go into it, the fire had left. In terms of talking about it. So I was like, I'll get to it eventually. Way long after that, chapters 3 and 4 come out last year.
Oh, was it only last year? Wow. I thought it was a couple of years ago now.
Nah, chapters, again, I think COVID hit, and I think Toby Fox got like an injury on like his hands or whatever that made it really hard to like code. So like there was a long delay in chapters 3 and 4, which is I think partially why they got released together as one thing.
I see.
Especially because chapter 3 is very much a bit of a filler chapter until like the very end. But I did grab that on PC when they came out, but I also still didn't fully jump on it because I'll admit I felt like my time had passed a little bit on just engaging with it. I feel like I'm not a late teenager anymore. I'm not really the maybe the target demographic at this point. But I still got through chapters 2, 3, and 4 just sort of gradually throughout the last year. And then when I got to chapter 4, I was like, okay, I'm finally caught up for the first time. Let's try and get back into the fan base a little bit, see what's happening. And then I went insane. Because it turns out I'm still very much a fucking crackhead for theories.
Yeah.
So I got legitimately excited for the first time in a very long time over chapter 5 coming out. I was literally sitting here watching the countdown in like the last 10 minutes waiting for it.
Oh my god.
Blasted through it over the next day. I couldn't do it all in one because we had an important call to do that same day.
Yeah, we did. I forgot that was a Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to deal with pesky important stuff, and then got back to Deltarune, and having finished it, close to 2 weeks ago now, I am still obsessed with what's going on and what's happening. And just catching up on all the theories that I missed in the last 5 years. So I've been so thoroughly annoying to you about this.
Yeah.
Do you want to maybe talk about what it's been like from your perspective?
Okay, so if I just look away from my phone for 5 minutes, I will come back to just walls of text about Deltarune, or like
a game you do not give a shit about.
Game I thoroughly like, even compared to Undertale, which I know a very minimal amount about. I legitimately know jack shit about Deltarune. So I'm just getting bombarded with things I have no possible context for, getting sent links to music, to random like clips from like people's streams, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
The thing is, I'm thoroughly aware, and it makes it funnier to me that I'm sending you shit about like fucking gaster theories and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck is a gaster?
Sometimes I just
the fan base doesn't know what the fuck a gaster is either. To be honest, he's a pirate now.
Usually I'll just clock like Undertale or Deltarune and whatever title it is, and my brain will just go doo 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 doo. And it's like,
absolutely fucking.
I'm taking none of whatever that is in.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm screaming. You see, this proves a thing that's been in like a theory for like 10 years now. It's finally getting like actual fuel to it. Come on, it's so cool. I'm basically screaming for someone to like acknowledge me.
Meanwhile, I just have the monkey bashing symbols in my head.
Yeah, to you I look deranged, but to me it all makes sense. It all makes sense.
I'll just be like doing something else. I'll be like in the middle of something. I'll be like reading or playing a game, and like sometimes my phone is just going so much that I'm like, okay, let's just put that on Do Not Disturb.
You can't. You could very easily have just told me to shut the fuck up at any
But
point.
I'm not going to, because I'm very aware that I do this, not well, maybe not quite to the degree that you've been doing with Deltarune posting, but I mean,
this is
aware.
Me getting back to you on all the stuff you have done to this before.
Yeah. I'm very aware that I do the exact same thing. I'll be reading books that you've absolutely no context for, and I'll just post about them and talk about stuff that I'm like, okay, I need to just get this out. Whether sometimes it's just to organize my own thoughts or whatever. But I'm very well aware that you have no possible context for whatever I'm talking about. And like, I'd never expect a response back half the time, to be honest.
Yeah. What the fuck is a throne of glass? I still don't know.
That's a pill.
Yeah. But you see, you don't understand. The hometown butcher is now a thing, and he's gonna fucking kill everyone.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
It's simple. It's the fucking bird that I hate.
Okay.
Okay, just like that one quote Rousey did in chapter 3.
Oh my god.
It's just been this.
Yeah.
I've just been talking like this in like a purposely obtuse way that makes no fucking sense. But it does make sense to me.
At some point, it did begin to be so disconnected from anything I could possibly understand that I'm looking at the words and I'm like, yeah, my brain refuses to actually take any of it in.
Yeah. In response to all this, though, I have actually fully started another playthrough of Undertale in the first time for like 8 years. And to talk sort of seriously about that for a sec, I still love that game. It is very clear how far Toby has come, though, since then, in terms of just sort of design, because Undertale, while being a complete game, is very, I don't want to say limited, but very definitely sort of truncated in what he was able to do in terms of that project, because like the opening act of that game can, if you're rushing through things and skipping dialogue, it can be done in like 20 minutes. And like I can understand there being people who have tried to get into it like from Undertale and maybe not quite clicking with it, because there's like an emotional beat that doesn't quite have the time, I think, to fully set itself in before it like can be effective. Just in the opening section. But I'm so good. I still love it. I was an Undertale teen, so you know, this is just my area.
I
and
tried,
I'm going for that.
I tried to play it, and I think I tried maybe 2 or 3 times over like a span of a couple of years, and I never clicked with it whatsoever. And you know, it's not going to be for everyone, but I respect that people do thoroughly enjoy it. It's somehow one of the fucking largest internet fandoms that exists now.
Yeah. It's also fucking massive in Japan, apparently.
Yeah, the Japanese love Toby Fox.
Yeah. I mean, he is in Smash now. Just he has characters in Smash. Well, characters as costumes in Smash, because like Toby's whole philosophy with characters in his game is that in Undertale and Deltarune, you're supposed to have a sort of suspension of disbelief about the characters living in their own actual little world that's just kind of there when you're not playing. And part of that whole philosophy means that like if they physically appear in other games, it kind of breaks that. Which is why Sans didn't appear as an actual character in Smash Ultimate. It's why he's only a costume.
Okay. I didn't realize that he wasn't an actual character. I didn't realize he was a costume.
He was just a Mii costume. It's enough though. we got Megalovania in the game, and that's already insane. But yeah, I love both these games so much, and I feel like I'm now at a point where like, because Deltarune is so far along as it is, I think I can now confidently say that like it's enough of a complete game that I think it manages to overtake Undertale as a whole. I think. Opinion pending on when I beat when I beat this playthrough of the game and start crying again near the end. But until then, I feel like from what I remember of the rest of Undertale and from what I've played so far of Deltarune, I think Deltarune is currently and on the way to being a bigger masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I think you'd also like it as well, but I'm not going to try and convince you.
I'm not going to play it. I'm so sorry. I'm not going anywhere near it with the 10-foot barge pole at this point.
I think you'd really like it, though.
I didn't like Undertale, so I have minus interest in Deltarune as a result.
I mean, the thing is, in terms of gameplay, Deltarune is much more fleshed out, I'd say.
It's less gameplay and more just like the writing style and stuff never clicked with me, and from a kind of like I don't know if it was like we are going back like almost 10 years now, so like I think it was always sort of like a story character thing. I never really clicked with the kind of like the dialogue and the story and characters and stuff. So like I think I just don't like Toby Fox's style of stuff, like that kind of thing, like the characters and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not, that's why like when Deltarune came around, I wasn't like, oh, I'll give it a chance because like I didn't click with Undertale, but maybe I'll click with this. It was more so I was like, I kind of know I'm not gonna jive with that style. I already didn't jive with it, so because I didn't mind the gameplay in Undertale so much because it's sort of like a kind of JRPG-esque, you know, setup.
Yeah, that's very much like the inspiration for it, and it's like it's sort of a JRPG slash little bit of bullet hell sort of influence as well, just in like how you're like dodging all these attacks in like a sort of box, and you have free reign and like your little heart icon. I guess that makes sense. I guess it's for me because Toby Fox writing is very much in line with my own sense of humor. And the way I like video game writing in terms of like comedy, but also just like narrative stuff. So that makes sense. I do think you'd really like it, but I'm not going to convince you.
Maybe whenever chapters 6 and 7, is that the last two that are to come out?
Chapter 6 is coming out hopefully at some point next year. And then after that will be chapter 7, which will be the last chapter.
Maybe when it is a complete game, I'll give it a try, but there's no promises on that front whatsoever.
Okay. You're simply missing out, but that's fine.
Yeah, I wanted to like it. That's it was not for a lack of trying. I never clicked with Toby's.
As long as you've tried, that's all that really matters. Like
I like his music stuff. I really like what he does with the music for the games. That was always a highlight whenever I was playing it. Was I really enjoyed the music. But it was just simply like I remember trying and playing up until a certain point of... I can't remember what point I got up to in Undertale, actually. Because it is a long time ago now.
Can you try and maybe describe it? I might be able to help you.
No, I truly don't remember, because there's a lot of different events and I'm like, I don't know which one is in which order. And also because you've posted like screenshots of stuff in your old playthrough, I'm like, wait, have I seen that before? Or is it just because it looks like Undertale that I'm like, I think I've seen this before?
Okay, yeah. If that's not gonna prompt you, then probably not.
Yeah. And yeah, I wanted to like it, but the writing just never really clicked with me that much, so yeah.
You should giving it a fair shake.
Yeah. Because I do own it.
I'd be giving you so much shit if you would come here and be like, I've never played it, but because so many people
I own
like
it.
I'm doing it out of spite.
I have it on Steam, and I have done since I think shortly after it came out, and I did try it. I tried it a couple of years after that, and then I tried it a couple of years after that, and I just never really clicked with it. I think the last time I tried to play it was in 2019.
Okay.
And yeah, just wasn't for me.
Your dislike is valid then.
Yeah. It's like how there's I love the Soulsborne games, but I don't think you would ever click with them, you know?
Yeah, and admittedly I haven't really tried any of the main Soulsborne games. I've tried games like it, and I've seen a lot of gameplay of it, and like just like people talk about it. But like, I just sort of get the sense that I'm not gonna like just the sluggish combat style, like the very particular way it's played. It's just not quite to my taste.
Yeah.
It's cool that a lot of other people like it. Like, I respect that immensely. It's just not something that I don't think is ever gonna click for me fully.
That's why I've never like pushed you to try any of them, really, because I just don't think they're your kind of game. I think Bloodborne's probably the one that you would maybe, if you did try, kind of get along with the most, but I don't know if it would be something you would stick through to the end, because like all of them, there's some bullshit moments where the difficulty can spike pretty harshly, and it's largely down to like they kind of suck at some designing of balancing things out for different play styles, and there's definitely some bosses where it's like, if you're not playing a magic build, you're just fucked, man.
Yeah, you see, that doesn't appeal to me. I'm sure it appeals to some people. That doesn't appeal to me. I do have Bloodborne. I've had it on like since I've like the PS4 and stuff, but on the one hand, it's just, again, the gameplay style just doesn't super appeal to me, and two, it's still at 30 FPS for some reason, and I'm not playing it out of spite because Sony's a bitch.
I actually did replay it a couple of years ago now, and I was surprised that it didn't feel as bad as I thought. It felt great when I got out of it and was playing like I think I played Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring after it and was like, oh, this feels so much better at 60 FPS, but I don't think it's that bad at 30. I just wish they would upgrade it. I wish they would patch it, but
yeah,
alas.
I have jokingly said to myself sometimes that they're like, the Soulsborne games are basically the games that I'm just not playing out of spite at this point.
And I don't think I even talk about them that much. I just play them.
You do when you're playing them.
Yeah, true. But that's because I need to let my frustration out.
Yeah. But yeah, outside of Underrune, Deltarune, all that great stuff, I've kind of just been in a rut in terms of gaming, because like I'm also going away soon on like just like a holiday, so it's hard to really get into like a long-term game when you know there's like just gonna be an unavoidable week where you can't play it, and you're just not gonna be able to get back to it. So I've possibly played with the idea of maybe trying to get to Kingdom Hearts, but then I was like, nah, that's just not yet. I promise at some point I'm gonna start Berserk. I do want to maybe try and start watching that before I go on holiday. Believe me, that's still up here on like my priority list. I'm gonna be so sorry because you have tried to get me to play it recently, but I don't think BioShock is on my list right now.
Wow. That sucks. The one time in a long time I've recommended a game.
I know, and I feel really bad, but it's like not quite yet. Maybe when I come back. I might change my mind when I come back.
You won't.
It's on the list. No, the fact that you recommend it means it is on the list. But I've also thought about maybe finally replaying Ace Attorney. That's one of the games I might bring with me when I'm like traveling and stuff, because those are good cozy games to just sort of read through. And it has been like 4 years since I played through them.
I was thinking about that as well, because I've got the rest of the collections now too, and I was like, fuck, I need to play like I think it's the Miles investigation ones that happen after the original trilogy. I'm like, I need to start playing them, but at this point I'm like, I need to go back and play the original trilogy to get a refresh before I can play them and then play the rest of them. And it's like, cool, because it already took like 40 hours to play through the first 3, so
you gotta play Apollo Justice at some point.
That was my intention, but I wanted to do the Miles games and then do Apollo Justice, since they kind of like take place in between those two, or at least the first Miles game takes place in between 3 and it's Apollo Justice, but 4th game.
Apollo Justice does have like a 10-year time skip, or like around a 10-year time skip, because canonically I think the original trilogy takes place in like 2016-ish, whereas like Apollo Justice is like late 2020s. Which is now. I know. You gotta do it soon so you can sync up with the timeline.
Oh no, that was actually what pissed me off, because so I've been playing Devil May Cry recently, and I just finished 5 a couple of days ago. And you know what bugged me? Most of it takes place on the 15th of June, and I wasn't fucking playing it on the 15th of June. I was just like a couple of weeks late, and I was like, fuck.
Damn.
I was so annoyed when that came up on screen after playing like the prologue section. It was like 15th of June, and I was like, motherfucker.
You were so close to greatness.
I was so
You were this close.
Because I started it on like I think like the 29th. I think I started it on like the same day I started reading the book that I've just finished. But I kept putting off because I sort of got wrapped up playing the Demon Souls remake right after finishing the original.
Yeah, because you started that again, which, you know, I mean, to be fair, you didn't talk about like that a lot in terms of like, as much as you talked about playing the original, which was like, I know too much about how much you grinded in like that one level of Demon Souls.
The original drove me insane at some point because it just took far too long. Like, it says a lot that I went in on a completely fresh playthrough of the remake and took less than half the time to clear the entire game. So clearly the remake's been much better balanced to be much more approachable than the original, because the original took me 32 hours and I cleared the remake in 15, and which is way more in line with my other Soulsborne game playthroughs. Elden Ring aside, because that's just a massive like open world game, so that's different. Plus I spent 100 hours on that getting all the achievements, which is
yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, but no, that the original drove me a bit insane. I think I've talked about it a little bit in the remakes episode. But no, the game, like, it's kind of fun. I like it for the, like, classic Souls, FromSoft aesthetic and stuff like that, and the core of their designs there. But the original version, I'm not sure is the flawed masterpiece people think it is. I think it's a horribly balanced, turgid mess.
It's just not quite there yet.
No, they clearly learned a lot from it and made Dark Souls a much better, like, balanced game. Granted, the original Dark Souls also had its issues in the fact that it would suddenly tank frames constantly.
Yeah, like, is it the original Dark Souls that, like, basically requires a mod to fix a lot of the stuff?
On the original the Xbox 360 version of Dark Souls, there's an entire area that runs sub 20 FPS the entire time.
Okay.
I don't know how that was affected in the original PC version, but mainly because the remaster has, like, entirely supplanted that. You can't buy the original anymore because they've replaced it with the remaster. But the remaster wasn't like, as we've talked about, remasters that move too far away from the original or whatever. This one was, like, pretty clear, just like, yeah, make it run at 1080 and 60 FPS.
Yeah. Up remaster that just basically makes it suitable for modern hardware.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, they learned a lot.
Yeah.
I do think Bluepoint overdesigned the remake, though. There's some stuff that's like, we don't need all of this. It was fine the way it was, with this bit of a simplistic look, especially to the architecture. There was a pretty specific design and stuff they were going for. But anyway, yeah. What are we talking about?
We're just talking about random stuff at this point, I think. Let's be real, this is an episode where we just get to talk about the most random fucking topics.
I'm gonna throw out some recommendations for people listening, because I've been doing this to anyone who will fucking listen to me at this point. People need to get on the John Woo movies. And this comes as no, like, I'm not the first person to say this, but you have never actually experienced action cinema until you've sat down and watched a real John Woo movie. Not whatever the fuck Mission Impossible 2 is, because that's just not, it's still bullshit. I don't care.
Yeah, I've seen Mission Impossible 2. I don't know what the fuck was happening in that movie, but none of it made it, like, none of it hit the way it was supposed to,
no.
I think.
But the Hong Kong movies that Woo was directing in, like, the late 80s and early 90s are just other level action films. Once you've seen them, you will understand that this, like, sort of new wave action that we've been getting in the last, like, 10 years or whatever following John Wick have been aiming to replicate John Woo in a way that they've just never managed. Literally all, is it 3 movies I've watched of his so far? Yeah, because those are the 3 that have been released. There's been Hard Boiled, then there was The Killer, and then Bullet in the Head. Those 3 just recently got released into, like, English on 4K with remasters, like, properly, readily available for the first time in, like, 20 years, 25 years or whatever. They've never really been too readily.
We're finally being DVD days.
Yeah, like, the highest possible quality you could watch Hard Boiled until this release was Laserdisc. That's how unavailable it's been.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And Bullet in the Head's never been available in any comprehensible cut. Ever. Because there's, like, several different cuts of it, but the actual, like, John Woo theatrical version has never, ever been, like, readily available before.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, so you've got the release we just got has the theatrical, but also has, like, the festival cut, which has, I think, like, 5-10 minutes more footage in it. But that's only on Blu-ray, but that's besides the point. All 3 of them I gave straight 5 stars. They're all just incredible experiences. You might start them out and go, I'm not entirely sure about this, and then you get, like, 10 minutes in and you're like, nah, I'm all in. It helps that, like, all 3 of them, so Hard Boiled has Chow Yun Fat and Tony Leung? I don't know. Tony Leung. The guy who played Shang, oh god, what was his name? The character in Shang-Chi, the dad.
Oh, the Mandarin.
The Mandarin, that's it. Yeah. I think
I forget his actual name, but I just know he's the Mandarin.
Yeah, thoroughly wasted in that movie. Got to add for the actor that Tony Leung is.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I liked that movie, but yeah.
So you got Chow Yun-fat, Tony Leung in Hard Boiled. You got Chow Yun-fat in The Killer, and then you got Tony Leung in Bullet in the Head. Both of them are just incredible actors on like opposite ends of the spectrum, because you've got like Chow Yun-fat, who is one of the most expressive men I've ever seen. Pulls just some of the most astounding faces you've ever seen, but clearly conveys whatever he needs to convey through that. And then Tony Leung is like an incredibly like conservative actor. It's very restrained, but he still manages to convey everything that he needs to convey. Very subtle, yeah. So like Hard Boiled, especially, where they're like acting off each other, is just like an incredible experience.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun ride.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping when I went into the Bullet in the Head that Chow Yun-fat was going to show up, but nah, he wasn't in that, unfortunately. And I was like, fuck. But no, I highly recommend those. So unfortunately, that means I'm up to date on like my backlog of Hong Kong action films that have been released, because I've watched Peking Upper Blues, I've watched Hard Boiled, I've watched The Killer, I've watched Bullet in the Head. So the next one to come out is Once a Thief, which is another John Woo movie with Chow Yun-fat. And in September's the A Better Tomorrow trilogy. But it kind of sucks that I've just not got anything for like a whole month that I can just revel in the insane actionness that is John Woo. I do have the Infernal Affairs trilogy, which isn't John Woo. It's I forget their names. It's two directors, but Infernal Affairs is very much like a response to the like 80s 90s Hong Kong action films. So it's a much more like, because a lot of them were like police characters, either detectives who turn on the cops or people who are undercover or set on fire. You know, Chow Yun-fat plays like an undercover cop who...
That makes sense for one of the movies being called Hard Boiled.
Yeah. And you know, because Hard Boiled, it's like two cops. One of them's an actual like... One of them's undercover, and one of them's like an actual detective. And they kind of eventually have to work together, but neither of them know that, or, you know, that sort of thing. And then like Infernal Affairs is that exact same idea, but much more reserved, kind of like, what's the crime thriller approach. So, you know, you've got like a whole scene where like one of the opening scenes is them doing a drug bust, and it's like you've got the undercover guy in the room sending like Morse code messages into a mic of what's going on. One of the guys in the stakeout room, and then one of the guys in the stakeout room's got like a cell phone that he's trying to send like messages to the leader of the gang, because he's the inside informant for the police. And so like it's much more played out in reserve, but like I think it's one that benefits having seen all the stuff that it's kind of playing off of to make, especially because like Tony Leung was in a lot of these action films, and he's also in Infernal Affairs. I still love the first Infernal Affairs, but I want to watch the rest of them once I've seen more of the kind of foundational stuff, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm bummed that I don't have much action stuff to watch.
Yeah, what are you gonna do in that month?
I've no idea. I've got so many films that I've just sat on for years at this point that I need to sit down and watch, but I'm like, I don't know, sometimes you have something for so long that you're like, I'll just get to it eventually.
It almost sets up like a whole other like a sort of subconscious expectation if you leave something for so long. They're like, well, it better live up to the however long I waited to watch it.
Yeah. It doesn't help that like, because we now use Letterboxd, part of me hates that like I've seen most of my 4K collection at this point. I think there's just some stragglers of things that I haven't watched. Like Audition I picked up recently, but I want to keep that for whenever we decide to cover it for the podcast, because it's been something we floated before as an idea to cover. But like a lot of stuff, it's like I watched prior to using Letterboxd, and so it's not logged on Letterboxd, and it's like I want to go back through the collection and make sure everything's like logged and has like a, you know, some kind of review or something, and it's like that's a massive undertaking, especially because I know there's stuff in there that's not that good, like Batman and Robin.
Yeah. I have thought about occasionally in like the last few months, I gotta rewatch the live action Batman movies, just all of them. And the Christopher Nolan ones are like a whole journey in and of itself that I just have to. They're good movies, but like I have to be mentally prepared to like sit down and watch any of them because they're so fucking long. Because it's Christopher Nolan. But like, there's also the other thing of like, do I want to watch Batman and Robin again? Do I want to watch Forever again? Sometimes, do I even want to watch Returns again?
There's also like some movies that are great, but you just are like, I'm not sure if I want to watch them again. Like Schindler's List, a phenomenal film, but do you want to stare down the barrel of a gun again? You know, like...
Yeah, like, The Green Mile is always my one that's like, I always feel like I'm staring down the barrel of, like, I have to wait, like, years in between before I feel like I'm able to watch it again. I've had the 4K of that for, like, years, and I don't think I've actually sat down and watched that, like, version of it, like, since I got it. Just because, I mean, you've seen the movie.
Yep.
You know what it's like.
Yeah, I did, like, Schindler's List, Shawshank, and Green Mile in like a couple of months of each other. I watched.
Yeah, it was pretty close together.
Yeah, I must have been going through it at that point in time. Jesus.
I think it was in like your very bad year. So
yeah, you know, that tracks. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think.
But yeah, no, some of it is like, yeah, I want to watch it, but also like I have a lot of stuff, and sometimes just having an overwhelming amount of stuff to go through can be the more daunting aspect of it, especially because like so many of it is like trilogies and series, and you know Cars 1 through 3, and that's a very light option. The Jurassic Park trilogy, or the Matrix quadrilogy as it is now, all that stuff just sort of becomes kind of daunting when you're like, oh, I've got to sit down and I've got to clear the time to watch all of them, like one after the other type thing.
Yeah, there's also like, for me personally, whenever I'm doing stuff like that, because I know how my brain works, it's kind of like, okay, I have so many like options, but like I know if I pick one, it's gonna be locked in my brain for a while, and it's gonna kind of lock out possibly other things that I might want to watch. Because like because when I watched like Star Wars just like about a couple months ago now, that's still in my brain. That's still like living in there and stuff. Like I'm still regularly playing Battlefront 2 just to get like a kick out of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't help that I'm now modding that game, so I'm like getting extra stuff out of it. But because that's still living in my head, it's like, okay, I don't feel like I can really get into stuff like Matrix again, just like as like an example. I don't think I'd be able to like get into that as like a film series to watch like currently. Or but if I choose to watch Berserk, that might possibly be in my brain for a while, which will like not make me in the mood for other stuff like Gundam, which is, I still have the origin up there and it's still staring at me. And I know I want to rewatch I want to watch the first time 79 of the series instead of the movies, but that's also its own commitment, so it's like I can't move. Sometimes
choice is like the worst possible thing to have. And like, because
I need someone to decide for me.
Yeah, because while I mentioned my 4K collection, which I have seen most of, so most of it's rewatches, there's so much of my actual like Blu-ray collection I've just not seen, and it's like, should that take precedence over my 4K and a journey of rewatching that? Because comparatively, they're much smaller. I think my 4K collection makes up like a quarter of the entire thing in comparison to like the Blu-ray collection. The Blu-ray collection's massive, whereas the 4K one, you know, just on the recency of it, and like they're kind of expensive. It's not massive at this point in time. I do have a lot. You can literally see it.
Yeah, like currently I can just see like the shelves behind you, and they're like, one, I wish I had the shelf space to have all that just present. I'm still stuck in my wardrobe, which is getting smaller with every purchase. I got a bunch of books, and I literally had the moment of, I don't know where to put all of these.
Yeah, my books are stacked like next to my desk. I have a bookshelf that's also full, that's out in the hall, but there's just books upon books sat next to me that are just a leaning.
I'm trying to avoid that currently.
Yeah. I had one pile and I had to start another one, and now that pile's almost the exact same size. However,
it's gotta be worse when you've got books in there you're not proud of reading.
Well, there's 7 I can now get rid of. So that'll clear some shelf space. Can you guess what those 7 are, dear
listeners? Trust me, we've been talking shit about them.
If you follow me on Instagram, you're well aware that I'm not a fan of what I've just finished. I liked some of it and not much of it.
Yeah. All I can say is that I've just been so happy, like, talking shit about it to you. As someone who was a former fan of that particular series.
The series that shall not
like
be
being
named.
An ex-cult member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the reader that lived. Sorry, I'm just trying to make it abundantly obvious what we're talking about.
Okay, for context, just to like go full transparency on this, we did possibly say that we could talk about this, but I just kind of vetoed. I don't want this on our brand.
I kind of didn't want it to be a thing that we had to discuss at length, because one, we've been doing it as I've been reading it, and that for me is fine. That's enough. But to like actually do it on the podcast is like sort of crossing a line that I think both of us are kind of like, this is...
I would have vetoed it.
Yeah.
If you actually brought it up.
Yeah. Like it's sort of straying into a line of, I already had moral issues with reading the books in the first place. I'm reading technically a collection of stuff that I already owned that I just had to replace because I couldn't find them, but I didn't replace it through actual purchases.
Yeah.
Of brand new items. I replaced them with...
Yeah, you didn't spend money that was like very sort of morally wrong by our standards.
I got most of them for £1. So, you know, I got like 5 of them for £1 and had to fill out 2 by eBay purchases.
You still paid too much.
Yeah. And I spent a year sitting on it going, should I? I've done this, but like, do I just want to get rid of them? Do I actually want to commit to that? And I did in the end. And for the better part of the month, I've been locked into doing that. But like, actually discussing it openly here, it feels like a weird sort of like...
It's giving power to
and we don't...
person we don't want to give power to.
Yeah, and we don't want to be like... We don't want to seem like we are adding to the fandom, adding to the like...
Absolutely not.
Larger buzz around this franchise that somehow has not died.
No, it refuses to die.
It refuses.
The person who owns it is actively funding its continued survival of life support.
Yeah. And you
a
know,
lot of other bullshit.
And when the author is using their profit to fund a genocide against a certain group of people, you know, there's like very clear line that I don't want to cross with it. I've engaged with it in as a ethical way. That sort of doesn't feel right, but like...
No, I think you sort of summed it up when, like, before you started reading it, like your motivation was, I want to be an informed hater.
Yeah, that's the term I've been using for a couple of years now, of like, I want to be an informed hater because I haven't seen it all the way through. I don't know all of the story, I don't know all of the details, and it's like, you know, the power in it now is that I can simply sit back and go, I fucking don't get it. Why? Like, I've read all of it.
You can, like... You have receipts that say, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. It's still bullshit.
Yeah. Because this whole entire journey has been me reading this and going, at what point does it become a global fandom that people drool over it for, that journey to, you know, certain iconic places to visit, and like, because at no point does it click and make sense.
It never becomes that good.
No, it really doesn't. Anyway, we've gone over an hour, and I think we're paying too much power to this now, so...
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because, like, it just sort of came up, and it's like, I don't want to fully dance around it like it's a taboo subject, because I'm not giving it that power.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to invoke it at the same time. So I kind of am just dancing around it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things we would never put, like, in the title or thumbnail, because we don't want that, like... One, we don't want to draw the, like, ire of the people who quite rightly stand against it. We also don't want to draw the people who, for some reason, have no qualms against still supporting it, knowing where the profits are going.
Absolutely.
It's that sort of catch-22. There is no moral. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism, I guess, is the...
Yeah. It's just, you know, this one is like a direct line to shit.
Yes. So, yeah, this is a weird episode that I've no idea what to
have fun titling this.
Do with. Maybe I'll just throw Deltarune on it.
Yeah! I'm half tempted to suggest you just title it, Shaun and Rebel just shoot the shit, and then it's just like the thumbnail is like that picture of, I don't know, the SpongeBob movie characters of the guys just in chairs.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the podcast. We will see you guys next week, when it will be,
What will it be?
I think it's Gundam. I think it's Zeta Gundam Part 2. I think.
Yeah, does that, at the time of recording, that still hasn't come out?
No. I think that comes out on the 17th. This episode comes out on the 10th. So, yeah, I think it's Zeta Gundam Part 2. So, yeah, we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.